Hello and welcome to another episode of TEVAdrive Express, and this time around we are testing for you this 2024 Dodge Hornet RT plug-in hybrid made in Italy, side by side with its close cousin Alfa Romeo Tonale. Basically that's what it is. It's a rebadged and re-engineered slightly Alfa Romeo Tonale. They share the general shape of the car. The only part that's different is the front. Each of the cars has a distinct front, but from the side it's very hard to tell them apart. This is a beautiful tamale red color, which befits this sporty tall hatch or a crossover as they call them now. Basically, so from the side it's almost identical shape to Alfa. There's this Hornet badge. You have the beautiful red calipers there, 20-inch 235 wide wheels and tires. There's the Hornet badge, beautiful black rims. From the back, again, very similar to Alfa, almost identical. The only thing that makes them different is the badge. So instead of the Alfa badge, they both have the unibrow in the back, same shape, tailgate. And then here, instead of the Alfa badge, you have the Dodge RT badge. And here you have the RT logo and the black Hornet logo. Okay, so that's about it. Let us show you the car from the inside. Before we start, let's give you some general specs of this car. And so they start the plug-in hybrid version. You can buy cheaper versions which are not plug-in hybrids. This plug-in hybrid starts at around 60 Canadian, 60,000 Canadian, and as equipped it's 70,000 Canadian. It's quite expensive, but it's quite sporty, with a total of 288 horsepower, 5.3 seconds 0 to 100. And it has a 15.5 kilowatt hour battery, good for about 53 rated kilometers, of which 12 are available on a net basis. We'll give you our impressions and results of our testing on the highway and on the hypermile shortly. Let us just show you the interior. Very similar to Alfa again, minus a few logos. So here again you have the Dodge logo instead of Alfa. You still have the huge shift paddles in the back on the left and right, but they only work in gas mode or hybrid mode. Don't touch them if you want to stay in all electric. Instead of the Alfa Romeo Manettino, here you have this e-drive modes, which switches between hybrid, electric, and e-save, which saves your battery for later use. On the wheel here, you have the different buttons. On the left, you have the adaptive cruise control settings. On the right, you have the menu displays for the main dash. And then you have the center screen, which is kind of on the small side compared to some of today's plug-in hybrid and full electric cars. The center consoles, it looks exactly the same, almost like the Alfa. You have wireless charger, by the way. There is wireless Android Auto, which we love. We still have a cable plugged in here for faster charging, but you do have wireless charging pad for the phone, and you can use your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly. You have start-stop engine button here. You've got the sport button here, which automatically turns your engine for maximal power. And so we'll let you hear very nice exhaust sound here. And the trick to use the boost mode here, there is no official boost button, but apparently if you press both of these shift paddles together, you get 15 seconds of boost, so to get that 5.3 second acceleration. Okay, so that's about it for the front. Nice red stitching for Hornet RT, red accents on the seats as well, Alcantara and leather. You have a beautiful opening sunroof here, which we love, as you know, same as in the Alfa. And let us show you the back space. Okay, here, by the way, before we go, is your charge port on the left side. The filler tank for fuel is on the other side. At the back passenger side is your level 2 charge port with LED indicators. So here's the back seat, nice sports seats as well, with the sunroof there again. There's a couple of cup holders. The vents are in the middle. A couple of USB-A, USB-C ports for charging. Let's just try and sit here so my front seat is in a comfortable position. And here, as you can see, not much space in the back for tall passengers. I'm not quite touching, but I'm almost touching. I'm 6'3", 190 centimeters. I'm not touching the ceiling, but almost. And as you can see, this bulge here is from the sunroof. The sunroof goes above the roof, so it doesn't cut in. So the rear headroom is not terrible, but it's not very tall either. It's a small, sporty hatchback. So let's give you a tour of the trunk and show you what that looks like. And of course, you have the foot swipe function here. I'm not sure if it's gonna work because the car is on right now, so most likely it will not. Oh, actually it did work, so that's perfect. So here's the trunk, 40-60 split with a pass-through. You have the hard shelf here on top, which you can remove, and you have a bit of storage here under the floor for the emergency tire kit. You can see the batteries located here, and you can see a little bit of storage for your charging cables. Okay, so that's about it. Let's jump in, take you for a spin, and give you the results of our test results and our general impressions. Okay, so let us jump inside this 2024 Dodge Hornet RT PHEV, and this is the RT Plus. Now, of course, the moment you say the manufacturer's name, it activates the sound recognition. Cancel. We don't need you to listen to us.
Cancelled.
There you go. Thank you very much. So, as with all modern vehicles, you have the voice commands, and they are usually activated by saying, "Hey, manufacturer's name, fill in here." So again, pretty much this made in Italy Dodge, first ever electrified Dodge, courtesy of Alfa Romeo, is a plug-in hybrid. So we mentioned the specs already: 288 horsepower, 1.3 cylinder turbo 4-cylinder, which hails from the Abarth 500 and 600s, and together with the two electric motors. Actually, you have a 6-speed transmission and 2 electric motors. So again, total of 288 horsepower, lots of torque, good for 5.3 rated acceleration, and a 53 kilometer range out of the 15.5 kilowatt hour battery, which offers about net of about 12. So you have below this, in terms of the battery size and power, below this you have the Hyundai Kia Duo, Tucson and Sportage, with less power and smaller battery. Above this you have Toyota with more power and bigger battery, so bigger range. However, this car, even though Toyota offers 300 horsepower and this is 288, this car is actually quicker. So both the Alfa and Dodge, they offer 5.3 seconds versus Toyota's 5.9 seconds. So it's about half a second quicker, even though it has less total power. Most likely it's due to the this being a regular 6-speed transmission versus the CVT, which we hate. So the Toyota and Mitsubishi plug-in hybrids both have the CVT. So does Ford. And again, we did not enjoy that. This is a regular 6-speed transmission with 2 electric motors. Okay, so that's about it. The car is already on. We have this screen on the power showing the energy flow. Here's the gauges, accessory gauges, which are basically mostly for the gas or hybrid part of the car. What we wish, though, is number one, that the center screen should be a little bit bigger with the larger fonts for people my age. The other thing is you have this binocular style dashboard. It's all digital. However, the information, it does not offer the imitation because it is a sporty car. In my opinion, it should offer a possibility of changing, and you can change all those menus through this button here and then roller here, but you cannot get this classical look tacho and speedo, let's say speedo on the left, tacho on the right, or vice versa, with just your trip stats in the middle. Instead, you have this overload of information. On the left, it pretty much stays empty most of the time, unless you're navigating, then navigation takes over the whole left side of the screen here. We just kept it in the power band that shows us if it's using electric or gas engine and the trip statistics. So you can see here, probably not from this angle camera, but all the trip A statistics are here. You can reset them. You can have trip A, trip B, and total statistics. Electric range at full right now, it's showing 50 kilometers. We'll tell you all about it in terms of what our tests revealed regarding that. Then you have a total range, you have the gas range, and then you have your electric range showing at the bottom. And you've got the power band showing the charging and the power up to 100. So kind of it's but this should be much bigger, much nicer, much more classical looking, in my opinion. Even Alfa doesn't offer that option, so Dodge does not either. It would be nice to have, just in my opinion. The nice thing is that you have these climate buttons are all here as well. Regular shifter, volume button here. You have your ESC off, parking help, parking on, self park here, self park off. Regular gear shifter with manual shifting here, or you can manually shift through using the shift paddles here. Start stop button, sport button, which puts you automatically, which we'll use later on. Of course, you can go through all the options and settings through the center screen. Again, as we mentioned, wireless phone charging and wireless Android Auto, as it should be in a car that's priced between $60,000 and $70,000 in Canada. So that's the one thing that most reviewers mention about this car. It's a great car. It's pretty quick, great top speed. Not that we care about the top speed here in Canada. However, the issue is, as usual, the price. And so most reviewers say that the GT, which is below that, with slightly less powerful, offer a much better bang for the buck. You know, the one of the issue that it's made in Europe, made in Italy, that right away, right there, it makes it more expensive. Maybe Dodge should move the production to Mexico or something and drop the price quite a bit. Because honestly, between 60 and 70 grand, as you know, in number one, compared to our Audi, we leased our Audi at 60 grand. So this is the bottom price of this car, and fully equipped at 70 grand, which is quite a bit. And it doesn't necessarily offer, it's about equivalent performance, and it's a plug-in hybrid, not a full electric. You know, like, in plug-in hybrids should be priced below full electrics, right? And so anyways, this is the Dodge's first first attempt at an electrified vehicle. Soon enough, they're gonna have fully electric charger, Challenger, 2-door, 4-door. Then of course the Jeep's gonna come out very soon with a Wagoneer S and Recon, fully electric cars. So this is just the first attempt. This is the fastest way for you to get into an electrified Dodge, and it's actually, the first attempt is not bad. The only issue, as we can find right now, is its sticker price. Other than that, very comfortable seats, very sporty seats, nice opening sunroof, all the digital displays that you need. So we're gonna take it easy through the village in electric mode, and then we're gonna go into sport mode, and which you can do basically. So your e-drive modes are here, and then your sport mode is right there. Or if you pull the gear shifter to the left, it automatically goes into a sport mode as well, which is kind of then becomes sport, and then it becomes manual the moment you start shifting, either through the paddles or this gear shifter here. It goes into a manual mode as well. Okay, so pretty silent interior, we have to say. Of course, the 235 wide 20-inch rims are make it a bit of a rough ride. So, but it is a sporty crossover, so it's kind of normal. Quite wide tires, and even though it's over 1,800 kilograms heavy, and you can sometimes feel it, and it's mostly due to the weight of the battery, of course. But I was comfortable in taking the turns much faster, curves on highways, etc., than, for example, the Ford we tested a couple of weeks ago. So in that respect, it feels definitely much sportier. Also, the regular transmission versus the CVT, which we don't like at all. We'd rather have a normal transmission in a plug-in hybrid, such as the Volvo's, BMWs. But then on the other side, you have the CVTs by Ford, you know, and Toyota, for example, and Mitsubishi. So that's our preference. So we're gonna try and find a calmer spot, and we haven't even tried that launch mode, which you apparently get by pressing the two shift paddles together. So once we get to the, so here, well, let's show you the modes. So basically you have e-save, which turns on the engine. You can see e-save, you have hybrid, and you have electric. Okay, so we're gonna try and put in the sport mode now, because this button here only changes the electric modes. So here we go, sport mode. Sport is on, which is basically your hybrid mode. There we go. And so we'll let the engine warm up a bit. You can see on the graphics that the engine and the electric power are both working in this instance. The sound transmission, the exhaust is kind of really nice, so maybe we should shoot a quick video of the exhaust note. It's quite sporty and nice. You can tell that it was tuned by the Italians, so it's very similar, if not identical, to that of the Alfa Romeo Tonale, a Veloce plug-in hybrid, which would be the Alfa Romeo equivalent of this car. We're both made in the same factory in Italy, side by side. You can hear the bass of the exhaust note. And so let's see if we can kind of accelerate faster, maybe up the hill. We'll get out of the busy city street, and we'll see if we can accelerate from a standstill onto this. So basically here we go. Let's see if the recipe works. Both shift paddles pressed. There we go. So no big drama here compared to some of the other sub 4-second full electric cars that we drove. But again, as we mentioned, it's one of the quickest of the whole bunch of plug-in hybrid compact SUVs that we test drove at 5.3 seconds. Better than the more powerful Toyota, and still has a decent range. So, and it's a kind of a different looking vehicle as well, you know. So again, whether of the two brothers, I think that the Alfa version of this car has more chance of fetching this high price, and more buyers may be going for the Alfa Tonale than for the Dodge version of this car, because let's say a 70 grand Dodge, you can have a pretty well equipped full-size 3-row Durango for less than that, right? So it's going to be hard for the dealers to justify the $60,000 to $70,000 price tag on this compact SUV, even if there's a plug with it. So all in all, we'd still encourage you to, if you like sporty crossovers and you want a plug-in hybrid instead of a full electric, maybe that's your preference, because you want to have the flexibility of both powertrains. Again, you will have up to, let's talk about what our test reveals. Again, rated 53 kilometers. It always shows when you start the car at full battery, it shows 50 kilometers, so it does not adjust to your previous driving style. And so we did 2 hypermiles, one from Toronto uphill to Georgian Bay, and we managed just over 50 kilometers. So we tried again from Midland to Collingwood, which is a little bit more flat. There's still a few hills around Georgian Bay, but actually let's just switch it back to electric. There we go, much quieter now. Why hybrid? We wanted electric. So here it says electric, here it says hybrid. Anyways, I think we're back to full electric. So the second time around on the hypermile, and you know how we hypermile. Basically, we drive on side roads below 100 kilometers an hour, no climate. So we had the windows open and our sunroof open as always. It was a beautiful summer day, below 30 degrees, not much humidity. So it was actually a pleasure to drive that way. And we did manage to squeeze around 60 kilometers out of this car in hypermile mode. So which was great. Which is, you know, the usual. If you're careful, you can squeeze both more gas mileage and more EV mileage out of these cars, which kind of makes sense. So Again, if you have any questions about our test or regarding this car or the comparison with its brother Alfa Romeo, the video about Alfa Romeo Tonale plug-in hybrid is already up on our YouTube page. You can check it out. For those of you who will be comparing it with the full electric car, I don't think there's too many people cross-swapping plug-in hybrid and full electrics, but in case you are, let us know. Like I said, this car is actually priced above our Audi Q4, even with its recently increased prices. The Q4 is priced, the rear-wheel drive is now at 53 plus options, all-wheel drive is 58 plus options. You can spec it up to well above 80 grand, of course, if you wish, especially the Sportback version, and where this one here is priced here in Canada between 60 and 70. It qualifies because the electric range is about 50 kilometers. This car qualifies for the full incentive of $5,000, not the half incentive of $2,500 for those other plug-in hybrids which don't have the such electric range offered. But anyways, so yeah, let us know by commenting if you have any questions. As usual, don't forget to press the subscribe button on our channel to be informed when the next review will be coming. We have lots more amazing cars coming, both full electric and plug-in hybrids, that we'll be reviewing for you in the next little while, so stay tuned. And as always, we have to mention that this video is brought to you by our real estate company, Condos and Castles Realty. You can find them online at condosandcastles.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next review. And let's try the launch mode again. So sport button, there we go. Shift paddles both. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.